Hey, welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going to look at things a bit differently.
We are. We've got some interesting sources that connect, well, math and the natural world.
Right, something you might not immediately put together. We're looking at how math actually helps us understand real-world biology.
Yeah, exactly. Like, think about plants and how they absorb carbon dioxide, CO2. It's fundamental.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
But how do you actually measure the total amount of a single plant, say a tree,
Yeah,
absorbs over its whole life? That sounds complicated.
it can be.
So our mission for this deep dive,
Mm.
pulling from these sources, is to figure out how one specific bit of math helps.
Yep, how integral calculus lets us calculate that total CO2 uptake for a plant.
Okay, integral calculus. Let's get into it.
Well, the first thing to grasp is that a plant's CO2 absorption rate, it's not steady, not at all.
Oh, right. It changes all the time.
Constantly. Depends on sunlight, temperature, the plant's age, the season, even stuff like humidity.
Okay, so you can't just, measure it once and multiply by how many years the tree's been alive.
Definitely not. That would give you a wildly inaccurate number because that rate is always, fluctuating.
Okay, so let's break that down. If the rate is changing all the time, that's like the speed reading on your car's speedometer.
Exactly. Perfect analogy.
It tells you how fast you're going right now, but not the total distance you've driven on a trip.
Precisely. The speedometer is that instantaneous rate. If you want the total distance, you need something else.
You need to sort of add up all those speed readings over the whole journey somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And in math, if you have the total distance function, finding that instantaneous speed is like a differentiation.
Ah, okay. Differentiation gets you the speedometer reading from the total distance function.
Sure.
Got it.
Yep.
So how do we go the other way? How do we take all those changing speedometer readings, the changing CO2 absorption rates, and figure out the total distance traveled or the total CO2 absorbed?
And that is exactly what integration does. It's the flip side of differentiation. If differentiation finds the rate from the total, integration finds the total amount by adding up all the tiny, tiny changes in the rate.
So it's like summing up infinite little moments over the plant's whole life.
You've got it.
Okay.
Over a continuous period, like time. It lets us handle that constant change.
Wow, okay. That's actually really cool. So you take this super dynamic thing, the CO2 uptake changing every second,
Yeah, incredibly complex.
and you use mathematical models based on data about those rates. And integration lets you boil it down to one number.
One single meaningful number, the total CO2 sequestered over, say, 50 years.
Just like using all the speed changes on your road trip to calculate the exact final mileage.
Exactly that. It's about accumulating that varying rate to get a total quantity.
This isn't just theory, right? Scientists actually do this.
Oh, absolutely. The sources show they collect real data on gas exchange in plants, using fancy equipment sometimes to model the rates.
And then they use integration.
Then they apply integration to figure out things like how much biomass the plant has built up, and crucially, that total carbon capture.
So what's the big takeaway here?
Well, it means integration, this thing from calculus class, isn't just abstract math.
No, it's a practical tool.
A vital one for botanists, environmental scientists, anyone trying to measure the real impact of plants on our climate.
So we can put a number on the value of a tree, carbon-wise, or understand reforestation potential.
Or even compare different types of plants. All because math gives us a way to handle that changing rate over time. It shows how linked these fields are.
Math providing the language to understand biology.
Precisely. The abstract helps quantify the concrete.
Okay, so we've seen how integration totals up the CO2 for one plant. It adds up all those changing rates.
Right, over its entire lifespan.
So here's something to think about. If this math tool works for one tree, how could we maybe use the same idea, integrating rates over time, to understand the bigger picture?
You mean like entire forests?
Yeah, or whole ecosystems, maybe even the global carbon cycle. How might that scale up? Something to ponder until our next deep dive.